The 10 Best Video Games of 2022. Despite the turmoil of previous years, 2022 seemed to mark a return to normality for the gaming industry. The recoil caused by the pandemic resulted in many of 2022's most anticipated games being delayed until 2023 or even indefinitely in some cases. But while the scars made by the global pandemic are still healing, it was a great year for gaming nonetheless. 2022 cranked up the heat in terms of releases, and this year saw some of the best games in recent memory. 10. Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. Pokémon fans saw not one but two entries to the mainline Pokémon series in 2022. Both titles took the gaming world by storm, but there was one in particular that swept players up in a whirlwind of pocket monster mayhem. That is, of course, Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. While their release was peppered with graphical and frame rate issues, the game sold record numbers regardless. This just goes to show how good Pokémon Scarlet and Violet truly are at their core. Pokémon Scarlet and Violet are the world's first open-world Pokémon games and have completely revolutionized the franchise. These are truly special Pokémon games, and with ongoing updates and patches, they can only continue to improve. 9. A Plague Tale: Requiem. If you are over all the aggressive action and would rather take a more stealthy approach to your next adventure, A Plague Tale: Requiem would be a perfect choice. The game takes place in a horrendously infested 14th century France and sees the player character, Amicia, making her way through hordes of plague rats and murderous guards whose only mission is to kill both her and her brother. The story is harrowing, to say the least, but so brilliant that it easily makes up for the emotional trauma and therapy you may or may not have to fork out for once the story is over. But maybe stay away from this one if you're afraid of rats. 8. Ghostwire: Tokyo. Ghostwire Tokyo takes ranged first-person combat and drenches it in Japanese culture and mythology. The game takes place in a deserted Shibuya, a stark contrast to the thriving cultural hub that exists there today. Here, the area has been blanketed in a fog that has left it populated by spirits instead of the hundreds of busybodies that usually fill the streets. What FPS usually means in gaming is guns and realistic shooting mechanics. But in Ghostwire Tokyo, the combat is far more stylized and magical than that. You can harness multiple elemental attacks to make quick work of the spirits that plague the once densely populated city. There is an element of artistic flair to the combat as the protagonist's hands dance across the screen while ripping out the cores of their enemies. This makes the gameplay unique and unforgettable. 7. Cult of the Lamb. AAA titles are not the definition of a good game. A good game is about much more than just notoriety and a big budget. There are many differences between AAA and indie games that make them both unique. And brilliant games that can hold their own against those from the biggest developers in the world can come from even the smallest of teams. The indie title Cult of the Lamb is the perfect example of this. Cult of the Lamb is a part roguelike, part management sim game from Australian developers, Massive Monster. And if you think that's a strange combination, you would be right. But Cult of the Lamb absolutely pulls it off. It's an incredibly unique adventure that somehow manages to make demonic possession both cute and fun. 6. Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West is another masterpiece that hit shelves in 2022. This sprawling RPG follows the protagonist Aloy as she continues her war against the massive deranged machines that are wreaking havoc in her world. Horizon Forbidden West is the second installation in the Horizon franchise, and it is everything the first game was and more. The machines are bigger, badder, and more epic, as is Aloy herself. The combat in Horizon Forbidden West is extremely smooth, and the story is just as incredible as the massive open world the game takes place in. 5. Stray. Everyone loves cats, and Stray captures the likeness of these furry companions with almost scary accuracy. Everything about the adorable protagonist's mannerisms and overall execution makes it clear to any player that Stray is an absolute labor of love. Stray is an indie action-adventure puzzle game from Blue 12 Studios. The game explores themes of destruction and loss as you unravel the mystery of a post-apocalyptic world with your adorable robot companion, B12. Stray is a short but sweet adventure, taking only about 10 hours to complete. Make sure you start playing it earlier in the day, however, because once you begin, the urge to binge the whole game in one go is seriously strong. 4. Splatoon 3. Splatoon is one of Nintendo's newest IPs, but that didn't stop it from quickly rising up the ranks to become one of its staple franchises in record time. Splatoon 3 sold over 7 million copies within the first 3 months, solidifying its spot as not only one of the best Nintendo Switch games of 2022, but one of the best games of 2022 in general. The immense success of Splatoon 3 can be attributed to its addictive and fun gameplay. Splatoon is like many other popular online FPS games, but with a coat of paint that can't be described as anything other than pure Nintendo wholesomeness. Nintendo stripped away the violence and gore that are naturally associated with FPS titles and essentially made an online paintball game. Splatoon 3 is fast-paced, seriously fun, and engaging for all ages. 3. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. The deceivingly adorable pink ball of pure power that is Kirby has become synonymous with Nintendo over the years. Kirby has received many entries on every generation of Nintendo hardware since the early 90s, but this year it was different. Kirby and the Forgotten Land completely revolutionized the Kirby franchise, bringing the beloved mascot to life in full 3D. The series has always been well known for being more on the easy side. This made it perfect for children, but didn't pose much of a challenge for adults. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, however, features intuitive level design and much more challenging boss fights that make the game far more engaging for older players. Kirby and the Forgotten Land may be the first 3D platformer in the franchise, but hopefully, it is not the last. 2. God of War Ragnarök. Gamers had sky-high expectations for God of War Ragnarök, and it is safe to say that Santa Monica Studios' action-adventure title exceeded them. The long-running God of War series has become one of PlayStation's hallmark franchises, and the latest entry perfectly wraps up the Norse saga. God of War Ragnarök is a perfect example of everything fans love about the series. It has unapologetically fast-paced and satisfying combat and a deeply engaging storyline that is flawlessly executed. 1. Elden Ring. When you're talking about the best games of 2022, Elden Ring has to be at the top of the list. The hype surrounding this release was no joke, and after 2 consecutive wins for the most anticipated Game of the Year, it seemed fitting that Elden Ring was crowned Game of the Year at the 2022 Game Awards. Elden Ring is a masochistic Souls-like experience with monster designs and a high fantasy storyline that are nothing short of epic. Elden Ring is a true masterpiece, but we must warn you it is not for the faint of heart.
If you are happy with our service, please do not forget to leave a nice comment, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and hope to see you again in our next video. This is your favorite channel, The Top Tech, rolling out.